Welcome to Home, Space and Reason, a podcast about creating a home that thrives.
Hi there, I'm Christina Browning, your host. If you know your home could be so much more than it is, I discuss home functionality, aesthetics, and automation. I'm a realtor in Portland, Oregon, and a home functionality coach. I geek out on every subject imaginable regarding your home and yard, challenging you to think of your space differently to get the most out of every square foot. I pose questions for you to think through about your space and your reason. This podcast is all positive, offering you virtual fist bumps and celebrating every win. Remember, there's no such thing as perfect, but you can still aim for your best every day. Join me on social media by searching for the handle Space and Reason. How does your home smell inside? Have you ever wondered that? You know how when you go in other people's homes and they just smell different, not necessarily good or bad, just different. And then you go, wait a minute, how do other people think my home smells? Today, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the impact of our sense of smell in a couple different ways as it pertains to our homes. I was reading an article I found fascinating in Biotechniques, the International Journal of Life Science Methods, and I wanted to read a portion to you. As always, you'll find the link to the full article in the show notes. Tristan Free published this article in October of 2023, so it's fairly new, and it reads, quote, "Odors seem to impact our visual perception of colors, adjusting our perception of a neutral color." What? I couldn't even believe my eyes. So I had to read it again. It goes on to say, a recent study first authored by Ryan Ward of Liverpool John Moores University in the UK has revealed our sense of smell can bias our visual perception of colors. To do so, they used a sensory-deprived room to expose participants to different smells while monitoring their identification of a neutral gray. The study promotes further questions regarding the extent of this association and the impact of cross-modal associations on our daily lives. In a previous study 2 years prior, Ward and his team had identified that distinct smells were associated with different colors. For instance, the odor of coffee was associated with dark brown and red, whilst the smell of lemons was associated with green, pink, and yellow. Building on this work to determine whether this association could actually influence visual perception, the team assembled a cohort of 24 people between 20 and 57 years of age with no reported color blindness or sense of smell impairments. Participants were directed not to wear any deodorants or perfume and placed in a room deprived of sensory stimuli, save for a screen. An ultrasonic diffuser was used to infuse the room with the scent of caramel, cherry, lemon, coffee, peppermint, and odorless water one at a time, using an air purifier to purge the room of ambient odors in between each diffusion. During each diffusion, the screen in front of the participant was filled with a random color, and the participant was directed to use 2 sliders to control the red-green and yellow-blue balance of the color until it reached a neutral gray. You have no idea how bad I wish I was in this study. That sounds like so much fun. It goes on to say, the results demonstrated that for all of the odors, barring the control, the participants adjusted one or both of the scales incorrectly, landing on a color that was not neutral gray. All of these adjustments were toward a warmer color. Isn't that fascinating? In another article in Harvard News titled, What the Nose Knows by Colleen Walsh, she writes, quote, for decades, individuals and businesses have explored ways to harness the evocative power of smell. Think of the cologne or perfume worn by a former flame. And then there was Aroma-Rama or Smell-O-Vision, brainchildren of the film industry of the 1950s, that infused movie theaters with appropriate odors in an attempt to pull viewers deeper into a story. And the most recent update, the decade-old 4DX system, which incorporates special effects into movie theaters such as shaking seats, wind, rain, as well as smells. Several years ago, Harvard scientist David Edwards worked on a new technology that would allow iPhones to share scents as well as photos and texts. The author later goes on to tell about Dawn Goldworm, who spent 5 years in a perfumery school, followed by attaining a master's degree at New York University, where her thesis focused on olfactory branding. During the talk, she explained that smell is the only fully developed sense a fetus has in the womb, and it's the one that is the most developed in a child through the age of around 10 when sight takes over. And because smell and emotion are stored as one memory, says Goldworm, childhood tends to be the period in which you create the basis for smells you will like and hate for the rest of your life. So what does this mean for us today in our homes right now? How our home smells affects us, even if subconsciously. Pleasant smells can create a warm, welcoming environment and improve emotional well-being. It can also leave a lasting impression on guests. The way our homes smell dictates emotional well-being and the ability to relax. There's a strong link between comfort and pleasant scents, so it makes sense that people would strive for positivity in this area. Things that impact how your home smells. Grab your pen and paper and let's reflect on what is impacting how our home smells. Number 1, what I cook. What I cook on a regular basis, and if I run an exhaust fan or not to extract the stronger smells, such as garlic, cardamom, cumin, that sort of thing. Number 2, the pets you have, both what kind and how many. I learned that Labradors, Basset Hounds, Bulldogs, Cocker Spaniels, St. Bernards, Bloodhounds, and Mastiffs are the dog breeds known to be the stinkiest. On the other side of that equation, the Whippet is a dog breed that is considered to be practically odorless and one of the least smelly breeds of dogs. Ferrets produce a pungent odor, and hermit crabs and snakes are also really high up there for really, really stinky, specifically because of the waste. Obviously, cat litter can contribute to how your home smells as well. Number 3, laundry detergent and dryer sheets, shampoo, and soap all contribute, generally speaking, to how your home smells. Number 4, cleaning products. That could mean it's adding or it is scentless. Number 5, furniture, specifically vintage, may have a dusty and musty smell, or leather may have its own distinct smell. Wooden furniture also can have a smell. Number 6, super obvious, smoking or any kind of tobacco, goes without saying. Now, before you run out and get yourself some home fragrances, moderation is key. I want to share some tidbits from one last article with you titled, Why Smelling Good Could Come with a Cost to Health, by The Guardian, which of course I will link to. The subtitle reads, Fruity, Floral, Musky, from candles and cleaning products to lotions, soaps, lipstick, and cologne, we live in a scented world. What is lurking in the air? The article begins with, quote, about 4,000 chemicals are currently used to scent products, but you won't find any of them listed on a label. Fragrance formulations are considered a trade secret and therefore protected from disclosure, even to regulators or manufacturers. Instead, one word, fragrance, appears on ingredients lists for countless cosmetics, personal care, and cleaning products. A single scent may contain anywhere from 50 to 300 distinct chemicals. No state, federal, or global authority is regulating the safety of fragrance chemicals. End quote. So proceed with caution and maybe do some of your own research in this department. I like to think of things selectively, in moderation. So let's say I'm going for no odor, if possible, in my laundry. I would choose then an air freshener that might be the only thing that's in my house. We don't have pets, so I think it's interesting to think of which thing we want to specifically incorporate in our home, and then which stuff we want to intentionally purchase as odorless. On the note of smell, have you ever walked by someone's home outside and experienced the overwhelming stench of cat pee? And they may not actually have cats. There are some plants that specifically smell like this, and I wanted to list them for you. Pyroxylus, western juniper, flowering pear, Shasta daisies, and English boxwoods can all smell like cat pee. Fascinating, right? I want you to take a minute and think about what you have said to yourself today. Your internal speak. Was it critical and kind and helpful? How did you feel after you engaged in this inner discussion? Your thoughts are the source of your emotions and mood. The conversations you have with yourself can be destructive or beneficial. They influence how you feel about yourself and how you respond to events in your life. Treat yourself like you would your best friend. You are your own best advocate. You're always there. Root for yourself. Say nice things. I want to tell you about episode 46 because it is about a subject that I only dove into one time. The haunting of a house. It was the wildest recording I have ever done. I had more unexplainable digital snafus than I could explain. over and over. I can't tell you how many hours this episode took, and I never could figure out why things kept crashing. It made this episode all the more spooky. I talked about the spooky aspects of a home, the haunting of a home, and the energy that can remain long after people have left. I talked about the psychology of what makes a house feel haunted, and I shared a real-life story and talked about the inhabitants with Dr. Christy Sumner, a paranormal investigator, where she shares the details of an investigation in a house on a lake. Something is still there, moving around, lurking in the shadows, making curious, unexplainable noises. Parental discretion is advised on this particular episode due to the graphic nature in which some people meet their demise. Have a listen to episode 46 if you're in the mood for a little haunted house story. If you happen to know someone in the market to sell their home in the greater metro Portland, Oregon area, kindly send them my way. I include complimentary staging with every listing. Thanks in advance for the confidence of your referral. If you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the show so new episodes are automatically queued for you. It's one less thing you need to remember. Thanks, friend, for sitting in on this conversation about creating a home that thrives. I'll meet you back here for the next episode.